Hello, Taurus. Take a moment. Close your eyes. If you can, put your hand over your heart. Inhale slowly, because something sacred is happening. No, this is not just another week, not just another message. This is a crossroad, and your soul has already started walking. Even if your feet haven't caught up yet, there's something shifting in the background, something cosmic, something you can't quite explain, but you can feel it. In your breath, in your gut, in the way you're suddenly more aware of time, more curious about your future, more protective of your energy. You're not imagining it. The tide is turning. Taurus, you are approaching a defining moment in your life, one that doesn't just affect your relationships or your job title, but your entire sense of identity. This isn't about climbing another rung on the ladder or earning someone else's approval. This is about finally aligning with your truest expression, who you are when you're not performing for anyone. You've spent so long proving your worth, carrying responsibility, playing it safe because safety once felt like survival. You've built structures around your heart. You've stayed in places out of duty. You've watered gardens that were never meant to bloom. And yet, there's always been a part of you, a soft, glowing part that knew there was more. And that part of you, Taurus, is wide awake now. This is not a dream. This is a call into your own becoming life, a call to stop shrinking, stop doubting, stop delaying your abundance because someone told you it was selfish to want more. You don't need permission to evolve. You don't need someone else to validate your knowing. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you've always been underneath the expectations. The universe is clearing space around you, inside you, for a reason. Because you're nearing a life event that will not only shift the outer world, but finally click something into place within you. You might not have all the details yet. You might not even know what this opportunity looks like. But it's coming. It's being built in the unseen, brick by brick, by your ancestors, by your past efforts, by every version of you who chose to keep going. And you'll know when it arrives, not because it makes noise, but because it makes sense. Something in your bones will soften. Your nervous system will sigh in relief. You'll stop fighting and start flowing. Because that's what happens when a Taurus finally meets the life they've been quietly preparing for in private. It could come in the form of a relationship that sees you without asking you to shrink, a role that uses your real talents instead of squeezing you into a mold, a message that confirms what your intuition has been whispering for months, a divine redirect, an unexpected invitation, a door you thought was closed, swinging wide open as if it had been waiting for you to walk back through. And Taurus, you will be ready. Because you've done the inner work, whether or not you've called it that. You've faced the loneliness, the stagnation, the fear of change. You've questioned yourself in the dark. You've wanted to give up and kept showing up anyway. That wasn't weakness. That was the foundation of your strength. Now, all that energy has somewhere to go. So this is your preparation phase. This is your wake-up moment. This is the universe leaning in and saying, pay attention. Because what's about to unfold isn't small. It isn't casual. It's not a breadcrumb or a test. It's a pivot point. One of those moments your future self will look back on and say, that's when everything began to move. You don't need to chase it. You don't need to manipulate it. You don't need to overwork to prove you're worthy of receiving it. You simply need to be present enough to recognize it. Which means be in your body. Take care of your nervous system. Get sleep. Hydrate. Say no to distractions. Choose environments that honor your peace. Connect with people who speak your language without forcing translation. The more you slow down now, the clearer the path will become. Because Taurus, you are not here to hustle your way into alignment. You are here to anchor it. You are not here to scramble for crumbs of validation. You are here to command your own seat at the table, if not build your own table altogether. And I need you to know this when the opportunity arrives, whether it's a job, a person, a calling, or an inner realization, it will not be random. It will not be luck. It will be the divine harvest of every choice you've made to choose yourself, even when it hurt. Let that truth sink into your skin. Let it shift the way you speak to yourself. Let it remind you that you don't need to earn what's already yours. You just need to stay awake enough to receive it. And if you feel a stirring right now, a gentle buzzing in your chest, a subtle ache behind your eyes, a flicker of finally then this message has reached the right heart, because Taurus, you're not preparing anymore. You're stepping in. The next chapter starts now. And now, Taurus, I want you to pause. Yes, just pause it. Right here. Right now, let everything else fall away for a moment. You do not have to decide everything today. You do not have to push the future into form. You do not have to prove your growth by rushing into your next step with shaking hands. This moment, this sacred in-between, is not a mistake. It's not punishment. It's not the universe abandoning you. It's a divine inhale before the next great exhale of your life. So take a breath with me. Taurus, not the kind you've been trained to take when someone tells you to calm down, but the kind that stretches your lungs until your soul can finally breathe again. Because here's the truth, you're standing at the end of a cycle. Something has completed. Not with fanfare, not with dramatic exits, but with a quiet sigh of closure. The way the last page of a chapter feels when you know there's no going back, but the energy that once fueled your habits, your connections, your beliefs, it's run dry. Not because you've failed, but because you've grown. You're not who you were. You've outlived the version of yourself who tolerated less, waited longer, made excuses, or doubted every inner nudge. And now, you're hovering in that mysterious space where the old doesn't quite fit anymore, and the new hasn't fully arrived. This is the cusp of transformation, and it requires stillness, not paralysis, no passivity, but conscious stillness, the kind that listens deeper, sees wider, chooses slower. Because if you try to rush this, if you try to force decisions before their time, you will miss the subtle whispers of divine timing. And Taurus, those whispers, they're everything. They come not in the noise of urgency, but in the hush of alignment. So stop trying to outrun the quiet. Don't fill the space just to feel busy. Don't chase clarity from people who only speak in confusion. This is the time to slow down, not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to sense that something is forming beneath the surface of your life. Something too big to be built overnight. Something that needs you present to unfold fully. You're not stuck. You're settling. Not settling for less, but settling into more. Grounding. Rooting. Listening for the rhythm underneath the noise of the world. Because Taurus, your greatest power has never been in how fast you move, it's in how deeply you stand. And that's exactly what's needed. Now depth, presence, and patience. Your intuition is strong right now, more than you know, but you have to learn to trust it without needing instant evidence. The mind wants guarantees, the heart wants to leap, but the soul wants truth. And truth doesn't always speak in straight lines. Sometimes, it guides through gentle resistance, a pause, a delay, a gut feeling that says not yet. Don't confuse that pause with failure. The universe isn't denying you. It's aligning you. And part of your alignment, Taurus, is learning how to balance your sacred knowing with grounded action. This is not about floating off into dreams with no roots, nor is it about numbing your inner voice with overanalysis and spreadsheets. This is about weaving both worlds together, the divine and the earthly, the mystical and the practical, the fire in your belly and the soil beneath your feet. So if your body says rest, rest. If your heart says speak, speak. If your intuition says wait, wait. And when it says move, you will move. not from panic, not from pressure, but from peace, from clarity, from alignment. This is what it means to live like a portal for grace. And Taurus, you are becoming just that. You are not being asked to figure it all out right now. You are being asked to refine your frequency so that what is meant for you can find you without friction. You're being asked to clear the noise, to clear the debris of past expectations, to clear the part of you that thinks you have to earn what your soul already deserves. In that clearing, it begins with trust. Trust that your pace is perfect, even if it's slower than others want. Trust that the doors closing now are making room for something that will never require you to betray yourself to belong. Trust that every no right now is protecting the version of you who's finally ready to say yes to a life that doesn't hurt to hold. You are not late. You are arriving. But to arrive fully, you must let the past release its grip on your spine. You must unclench your fists from dreams that were never truly yours. You must forgive yourself for the detours that were really just sacred pauses in disguise. Because what's coming, Taurus, will require all of you. Not just the you who gets things done, but the you who feels, the you who dares to rest without guilt, the you who believes in beauty, even when it's not visible yet. The you who isn't waiting to be chosen because you've already chosen yourself. And so, before this next cycle opens, before the job offer, the love letter, the investment, the revelation you are being gifted, this pause, this breath, this sacred, uncomfortable, fertile space where nothing seems certain and yet everything is shifting. Do not rush to fill the space. Let it fill you. Let it stretch your capacity to hold mystery. Let it deepen your ability to sit in the unknown without collapsing into fear. Because when this portal opens, and it will, you'll want to be fully present to walk through it. Not as someone who scrambled into their next chapter, but as someone who stood so still in their truth that the next chapter rose to meet them. You are not missing out. You are not being tested. You are being prepared. This is your invitation to stop searching for signs outside of you. You are the sign. And if all you do today is breathe deeper, soften your shoulders, and whisper, "I trust the timing of my life," then you have already said yes to the most important choice you can make, because in this stillness, Taurus, your soul is gathering. And when the moment comes and it's close, you will know exactly what to do. Because you will have become the version of yourself who no longer needs to guess. You will remember, you will act, and the entire universe will move with you. Taurus, let's speak honestly for a moment. There are things you've longed for in silence. Things you dared to want, but only in the privacy of your own heart. Things so big, so beautiful, that you pushed them aside just to protect yourself from disappointment. And I want you to know, the universe felt every whisper of those dreams, even the ones you never said out loud. You've always carried a depth of desire that runs beneath the surface, unshakable, timeless, sacred, not just for material comfort, though yes, you do crave stability, but for more than that, for peace that doesn't come with conditions, for a love that doesn't require you to prove your worth, for success that reflects who you truly are, not who you had to pretend to be. And for years, you may have settled, not because you were weak, but because you were wise. You knew what it meant to survive. You knew how to wait, how to hold back, how to keep tending to life even when it gave you very little in return. But Taurus, something is changing. That out of reach thing, that once impossible dream, it's moving closer. It's not because you finally worked hard enough. It's not because you suffered long enough. It's because your energy finally matches what you're asking for. You're not chasing it anymore, you're becoming it. You're no longer a visitor in the room where your blessings live. You are now the owner of the frequency required to hold them. And when that shift happens, when you stop performing for what is already yours, miracles unfold. So if something shows up this week, a call, a message, an offer, an apology, a vision, or even a breakdown that cracks you open, don't dismiss it. Don't downplay it. Don't say I'm not ready just because it looks different than what you imagined, because this is the truth about receiving. Taurus, it's not about perfection. It's not about timing that makes sense to your mind. It's about willingness. Are you willing to hold what you once thought belonged to someone braver? Are you willing to receive love without shrinking? Are you willing to say yes to the door that opens now, even if you still feel a little afraid? You don't have to know how to handle all of it. You just have to stop talking yourself out of it. And yes, some of the things that are arriving may come wrapped in uncertainty. Yes, it might feel uncomfortable at first because joy, real joy, requires expansion. You can't receive more if your body is still bracing for loss. You can't allow overflow if you're still clenching onto crumbs. So start with this unclench. Unclench your jaw. Unclench your expectations. Unclench your fear of being too much. Too soft. Too late. Too slow. And just say, I allow it now. Say it again. I allow it now. Let those words echo into the bones of every version of you who once believed you had to wait to be chosen. Let them wash over the child inside you who thought safety meant staying small. Let them reach the part of you that still flinches when good things happen. Because this time, Taurus, it's safe. It's safe to receive. It's safe to have more than enough. It's safe to outgrow your old limitations. It's safe to admit that you've always wanted a life that feels good. Not just one that looks okay to everyone else. It's safe to say, I want softness and wealth and laughter and real partnership. I want meaningful work, deep peace, and nights where I sleep without anxiety. I want to stop surviving and start living. And it's safe to receive all of it. You don't need to apologize for your healing. You don't need to explain why your path took longer. You don't need to shrink just to stay relatable. You've always known you were meant for more. And now, more is here. Not in the form of chaos, but in quiet alignment, not in a dramatic entrance, but in a gentle unfolding, not through someone else's validation, but through your own readiness to say, I've waited long enough. I am worthy now. So Taurus, let this be your turning point, not just in the physical, but in the emotional, in the energetic, in the spiritual. Let this be the moment when you decide, I will not block my own blessings. If the door opens, walk through. If the love calls, receive it. If the idea downloads, build it. If your spirit sighs with relief, trust it. You are no longer who you used to be. And the life that once felt out of reach, it's already walking toward you. You just have to stop looking away. Taurus, if you've made it to this moment, it means you've already said yes to something deeper than logic. You didn't just watch this message, you felt it. You recognized your own reflection in the words. And most of all, you remembered. You remembered that your path has never been about speed. It has always been about alignment. It has always been about the slow, sacred return to your own frequency, one that doesn't need to chase, force, or beg to belong. A frequency that says, I am enough, even here, especially here. You've been through seasons of silence. Taurus, where no one knew what you were carrying. You've carried futures in your heart while pretending everything was fine. You've played roles, built scaffolding, and sacrificed parts of yourself just to keep things from falling apart. But now is the moment you stop holding your breath. Now is when you stop surviving and start receiving. Not because you finally earned it, but because you finally stopped resisting it. And maybe that's the real secret. Taurus, that life was never keeping your blessings from you. You were just still trying to protect yourself from what you thought might break you open. But you've already been broken open. And look at you, you're still here. You're softer, wiser, truer than ever. You've traded illusions for clarity. You've traded roles for rest. And now you are finally ready not to be more, but to be fully yourself. So when the new cycle opens, and yes, it's almost here, I want you to remember this. You don't need to rush. You don't need to panic. You don't need to perform. You only need to say yes when your soul feels warm. You only need to walk toward what brings you peace, not pressure. Because the moment you stop asking, what if I fail, is the moment your future opens and says, what if this time everything works? And maybe Taurus, just maybe that's the kind of miracle you were made for. So take one last breath with me. Place your hand over your heart again. Say it softly. Say it out loud. I trust what's coming. I trust who I am becoming. And I trust that it's finally my time. Because it is. Welcome home. Taurus, your new chapter has already begun. With all my love, Selena,